Checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend. My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Well, when does that start? Soon? Probably not. Somebody needs to shave before they go to the vet. And I don't mean the veterinarian. Maybe. Good morning, folks. It is the 4th of July, July 4th, 2025. It's a great day to be alive, I guess. Happy Independence Day, even though it feels like kind of the opposite of Independence Day. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know, yesterday they passed one horrible bill where a lot of people are going to be suffering. A lot of people are going to get hurt by what happened yesterday. And the President of the United States now has the power to cancel elections. So where's the independence and where's the freedom in that? Sorry to say, it's a bummer of a show, but we're not going to have a traditional show today. We're going to have a kind of recap, if you will, of some very cool people who've been on the show, including Erica Rhodes, Brendan Walsh, Doug Stanhope, Henry Phillips, Paul Provenza, James Inman. Yes, you heard that correctly, and a slew of other people. So I'm going to play a commercial, and we're going to get right to that. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you are safe and have a happy and safe 4th of July weekend. Don't blow yourself up, and hopefully we'll see you on Monday. Enjoy and enjoy the show, I guess.
Soft and pink. She comes without a head, but at least she'll never shit the bed. You need a fake rubber to squeeze, be like Stephen Ortiz. Load it up, it's so soft. Get your 10% off. He goes to Tantalene. He goes to Tantalene. He goes to Tantalene. He goes to Tantalene.
Erica Rhodes, the fabulous Erica Rhodes, who is one of the funniest comedians and one of my favorite comedians. And I've been stalking her for a year to get her on the program. She's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome the fabulous sleepy Erica Rhodes. How are you?
How'd you know I was sleepy?
Because I stalk you on Twitter, And you said like 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, it said, "Why am I always awake when I should be sleeping and sleeping when I should be awake?" So I figured you'd
Yeah,
go
I
sleep.
pretty much didn't sleep much at all.
Well, let's start here.
Yeah.
New York has palm trees and smoothies, and we've had less snow than LA this year, and we haven't had any tornadoes or earthquakes. How about that?
Where are the palm trees?
We have palm trees. You just got to come out here. Long Island has palm trees, and Fire Island has palm trees.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I
seen
don't know how they stay alive in the winter because we've had them for 15 years now, and this has been a mild winter. But they've been there, and they don't die in this climate. Turns out palm trees are not always just for.
I've never seen a palm tree. I've been to Long Island.
Have you been to Fire Island?
Maybe not.
Well, and actually in Lindenhurst and in the Hamptons, they have palm trees, but they're beach clubs. You know, I
Yeah.
think they obviously import the palm trees to make it. You're drinking coffee. Good for you.
Yeah.
You know,
There's one way I can do this.
Oh, well, you've talked about your love for coffee once, like 3 years ago, and then you never expressed it again. And I was like, man, or do you drink your own coffee? Do you make coffee, or do you buy designer coffee, Starbucks coffee?
I do both. I mean, I make coffee and then I need coffee in the middle of the day and don't want to make it again. So then I buy it.
Now, I could never. Have you ever tried Koa coffee? The
Cola coffee?
Koa coffee. It's our sponsor today.
Oh,
Koa coffee is Hawaiian coffee grown on the slopes of the Mauna Loa volcano, hand-picked and delivered direct to your door with aloha. And I don't know what that means.
wow. What a nice segue to the sponsor.
Well, that's why when I saw you drinking coffee, I had to make it about that, so I don't have to play the spot all over again. But yeah, so with aloha, you've been to Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
What does with aloha mean? I thought aloha was hello and goodbye, but it says it delivers directly to your door with aloha. Does aloha have another meaning?
With a hello?
Hello, here's your coffee.
Aloha. Aloha and some coffee to go with it.
Yeah, I guess that
I
works.
don't know what. Maybe aloha has another meaning to it.
Now, is there some confusion with you this week? You're here performing this week, right? And you had some shows last week that were like not scheduled or something. Friday night, just something that came up. No, somebody was advertising a show for you Friday night, a late night thing.
Did I do it? Didn't. Why? What was confusing about it?
No, that's not what's confusing about it. But what was confusing about it, I said late night show Friday night. Oh, wait, I have my weeks mixed up because I thought.
Oh, you got mixed up.
Yes, I did.
You said you're not performing Thursday. Oh, you
No,
you said it's the weekend. You said I said I'm performing next weekend. You said technically it's Thursday.
Yeah. No, I thought there was some confusion about Thursday. Don't listen to me. I don't know how to speak. Just the mouth is not connected to any brain anywhere. I thought there was on the show on Midnight Theater's listing for Thursday night. There were two shows listed: 7:15 show and a late show. And I said I could swear she's just saying that there's just only one show Thursday and a 7:15 show.
Well, there were going to be two, but the second was not selling as quickly, so we just decided to consolidate just in case. I think we could have sold both, but yeah, we just played it safe.
Do you like theater shows better than club shows?
Well, Midnight Theater is sort of a middle tier. It's like in the middle. It still feels a bit clubby. It's a small theater. So
yeah, I was looking at it. It looked nice. Like you can pick your seats. Like comedy club, you can never pick your seats.
That's true. It's like it's a cool middle like it's not a huge theater, but it's also not a small club. It's like right in the middle, so it's perfect for me. I loved it. I did a showcase there for the New York Comedy Club, New York Comedy Festival a couple months ago, and I loved it. They run it really well, and it's like really beautiful and classy, and yeah.
That's cool. Now, do you because JT Habitat was talking to me about, and William Conway, who's my friend, who's competing. We're talking about the camaraderie of going on the road with somebody and being, not necessarily a team, but just sharing the experience. And I know lots of guys who do that. The road warrior comics who are on the road, sometimes in the cars. You seem to be more solitary, flying from city to city by yourself. And it seems to me, I can't think of any female comics that I know that do that, but lots of guys do that. Is that just a guy thing? This Butch Cassidy and Sundance thing, kid type of comedian on the road?
You mean where they go with somebody?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's because I can't always pick my openers, like some of them are a little bit ahead of me, so they're able to like pick their own openers and everything.
Right.
But not every club puts up my openers. Some of them do, but I've been having my friend Bobby Jaycox a lot recently. He's been featuring for me, and it makes such a difference. It's so nice to have him when he gets to open for me, because he's so helpful, and he's such a positive person, and so that's been helping a lot. But yeah, I can't always have him.
So now this weekend you have the Midnight Theater Thursday, then you have the Brokerage on Friday. I will be at the one of those shows, the early show.
Oh, I'm excited that you can come.
Actually, I've got so confused. I wanted to go to the late show at Brokerage, and because the night before I thought I was going to be at the early show for Sam Talent. I'm going to be at the late show for him, and then the early show for you. I got it all backwards. But so 2 shows on Friday and 2 shows on Saturday. You 5 shows in 3 days.
Is it 2 shows at Brokerage, or is it just 1?
I thought it was 2.
That needs to be. There's 2 E's on the.
Listen, don't anybody. I think you pointed out last night that I confuse your fans. Don't anybody listen to me. The links are in the bottom there, and the links are in the description. Click on them and then find out.
I don't even know if I have 2 shows or not. I mean, I'm gonna look it up.
Yikes! Uh-oh. Did I just cause trouble?
No, it's fine. I don't know. I think it's just 1 show each night.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, I think it's 1 show. Wait. Okay, so an early show on Friday and a later show on Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, Brokerage, you've played there before? You've performed?
Yeah, it's one of the first clubs that headlined me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a very intimate club. My memories of it, I've played there a couple of times before you were born. But my memories of it is being a very intimate jazz club. Do you get that vibe from it? Like it was a jazz club before it was a comedy club, but very close, people like right there.
Yeah, I guess they are pretty close now that you mention it. They are like they're right kind of on the side like that.
Right.
And I think one time I did it, and I ended up doing a lot more crowd work than expected because it was so intimate.
Wow. I like that. Do you like that?
I have sort of a love-hate thing with crowd work. I like it. I like it if it feels like it has a purpose, I don't like just meandery. Sometimes I get into meandery crowd work, and then you feel trapped and you're like, how am I going to get out of this? But I like quick crowd. I like if it comes naturally, and I like if it feels like we found something new.
Right.
Not like I can't stand these videos of like, where are you from? How are you doing? How long have you guys been together? Like, oh my God, stop.
Yeah. I had a Yelp account where I would just write these crazy reviews for things. And
I love it.
They wound up taking my account away. And I don't know why, because I would always give 5-star reviews. They were just rambling. The reviews were just rambling. It had very little to do with the business.
Right.
And then one day they weren't there. And then last night I was going through my Google Docs, and because I had saved some screenshots of some of the reviews, but I was like, oh my God, I lost pretty much all those reviews. And I was going through my Google Docs and I found that I had like 18 pages. I guess one day I had the forethought to go, you know what, this might get taken down.
Screenshot.
Yeah.
And I copied and pasted them. So
Yeah.
if you want, I could read, so I could do
Yes.
something funny on this
Yes.
thing.
Please do.
Let me read one of
Please.
these Yelp reviews, and let me find.
I feel like
here
a
they
school
are.
kid. I need to hear this.
I mean, and I do think that they might be better read. I feel like this is. After reading them, I'm like, oh, these are good. It's funny. I talked about making yourself laugh. I read them last night.
Yeah.
It was like really laughing at some of these. And I'm like, oh, this is like a Jack Handy book or something almost. Okay, I'll read one. I'm really full of myself tonight. And all my, then I was making Craig phone calls on stage. I thought I would take it to another level. People,
I
of
can't
course,
separate the man from the fiction. It's class.
people said, I've never seen anything
The
like
universe just told Doug to give me those shows, man.
Yeah, no, so I had to seize the moment, of course. I was at a crossroads in my career. I could have either stayed on the bench or stepped up to the plate. And, the rest is history, as you all know. I did 2 fucking dates. I did 2 shows, and I plan to do more maybe someday if somebody forces me to fucking do anything. So let me find. There's.
I just peed myself.
Okay, this bird one. Okay, so there's one for a bird store. Let me do this. I'll do this one first,
Sounds good.
and then maybe I'll do another one because there is kind of a through line of the guy cheating on his wife and stuff. Okay, Pampered Birds, June 3rd, 2018, 5 stars. Let me start by saying I love birds. I grew up with a parrot named Smokey who knew how to smoke cigarettes. My dad got him from the exotic bird black market back in the 80s. I guess the previous owner taught him how to do that. Everyone loved Smokey, even though he could be a jerk sometimes, but all birds are jerks sometimes. Ask anyone. Smokey spoke some weird language that we couldn't figure out what it was. My mom would drink wine and smoke cigarettes in the kitchen while she danced around the Frank Sinatra records. Smokey would join in and squawk his head off, and my mom would give him cigarettes too. My dad fed Smokey a piece of turkey on Thanksgiving one year, and my mom was laughing so hard she couldn't breathe and knocked a bunch of stuff on the floor. One time, my mom and Smokey were so loud dancing around in the kitchen and blaring that greasy meatball music. That's what my dad called Frank Sinatra's music. My dad went into the garage to sleep in the car. It was winter, and my dad was drunk too, so he turned the car on to stay warm, but he left the car running and died.
Carl, are you too tired to fucking laugh at this stuff? Or
No, I'm laughing. It's all internal, but it's real. It's just her.
Either way, Smokey lived like 20 more years, and my mom is still alive and has since remarried to a guy named Vince. Me and Vince will go to the bar sometimes, and we always look the other way if one of us meets a woman and takes her somewhere to cheat on our wives with. Don't get all high and mighty because Vince is cheating on my mom and I don't tell her. What good would it do? Vince is a man with needs, and my mom doesn't need to know what Vince gets up to at the bars. Same goes for my wife. What I do when I'm out with Vince is my business. Case closed. That's why I came to Pampered Birds, to buy my wife a bird. Being a real pain, and I kind of lost on her. We got a big fight, and she was crying and everything, and she even took off her wedding ring and threw it. I can't get a divorce, though, because we have kids, and I make a lot of money, and my wife, and I'm not giving, and I make a lot of money, and I'm not giving her my house, half my stuff, and cutting her a fat check every month. You're crazy if you think she deserves that. She never worked a day in her life, and guys used to just give her stuff, including me, because she used to look good. Only I'm the sucker who married her. Let me tell you, being married to an aging party girl is no picnic. I'll get her a damn cockatoo and some flowers and call it a day. Maybe I could secretly train the bird to peck her in her neck and eat her jugular vein like a worm or whatever. LOL. I'm 100% joking. I'm 100% joking around, so don't get your panties in a bunch over a joke, my dear. Guys make jokes like that all the time. Honestly, she'll probably do herself in by taking a handful of pills at some point. Pampered Birds has some great birds. It's one-stop shopping if you want to buy a bird. You can get a bird, a cage, all sizes, bird seed, decorations, water things, the works. You can walk out of the store with everything you need to be a total bird owner. The staff is knowledgeable about birds, and they're good at recommending cages, perches, and other bird-related items. I rated it 5 stars because you can get everything for your bird there, including a bird. If you don't trust my judgment just because me and my stepdad cheat on our wives together, grow up. I do love my wife, but that's none of your business. That's not what this review is about.
Oh my god!
That was a long one.
Did you write those in one go, just stream of consciousness, or do you take a while on it? Or?
No, yeah, that's just you just write the review and get out of there.
You're in the zone writing that stuff.
Just write the review and get on with it.
Yeah.
Britannica. Let me see if there's
the sad thing about that. There's somebody who's reading that who's not a dumb person, but still thinks that's fucking real. You know, somebody will read that and say, "Holy fucking!" Go tell all their friends, "You got to read this review and fall for it 100%."
Nah, they know, man. They know. Audience. They just can't. They just can't have that kind of fucking behavior on there.
Okay, I'll do one more, and I do really have to go.
Okay.
Guys, texting.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much, Brendan.
Yeah.
Well, let me say. I mean, this is for me. At least this is something funny.
Oh my god! I just peed myself.
Okay, so there's one speed dating. There's a speed dating thing, and then there's. Let me do the speed dating thing. I won't. I feel like there's probably. I mean, there's a few good ones. It's 18 pages long. Okay, well, let me. I mean, it's big. It's probably not 18 pages if you printed it. Okay, Speed LA Dating from 2019. Removed by Yelp, it says. My wife had to go out of town because her mother passed away recently. I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but good riddance. Since my wife's sister is a useless hippy-dippy moron, my wife had to handle all the funeral arrangements, etc. So she was going to be gone for at least a week. I decided to check out Speed LA Dating to meet someone to have a fling with and possibly get some mud for my turtle, if you catch my drift. Now, before you get all judgmental on me, let me explain a few things to you. 1, I've been with my wife for a long time. 2, she has gained a bunch of weight. 3, we have a don't ask, don't tell policy as far as I'm concerned. 4, variety is the spice of life. 5, it's 2019, so get with the times, Mother Teresa. Everybody cheats. So anyway, I found a coupon online for this dating thing and decided to give it a whirl. I thought it would be a good way to meet a ton of women real fast, maybe even date 2 ladies in one day. They had the speed dating event at a bar/restaurant, but honestly, it was kind of a sausage party. There were like 15 dudes and only 4 females. I don't want to get all political, but you know how women are always complaining that men make like $1 more an hour than them or whatever? Well, when it comes to having sex, they can pretty much get it anytime, anywhere, whenever they want. Personally, I'll take $1 hour or less if I could do that. I speed dated with 4 ladies and got all their numbers, but one of them had her septum pierced, a sleeve tattoo, and she went out to smoke a cigarette at one point. So you know she is 100% DTF and definitely a freak in the sack. So I focused my energy on her. There was a ponytail guy there who was also pursuing her hard as well, which was pretty annoying. But at the end of the night, I realized the bartender at the second bar was putting all our drinks on his tab. So that kind of worked out. He didn't seem to notice. And I got like 5 free vodka Red Bulls, which in LA is like at least $60. No lie. When we left the bar, I didn't really know what my move would be, but she took control and invited both me and the other guy back to her place. Told you she was a freak. We were all pretty blitzed, so I wanted to take an Uber, but she insisted on driving because she didn't want to leave her car. Me and the other guy decided to let her drive because we knew we were in store for a steamy night if we played our cards right. We didn't want to do anything to mess it up. She sideswiped a parked car on Sunset on our way to her place, but luckily nobody saw it, and we made it back to her place in one piece where we had some more drinks, and me and the other guy started kissing her, and no surprise, she was into it. I don't want to get into any graphic detail about what happened next, but we did everything you can imagine, everything, including me and the ponytail guy doing stuff. Overall, I give this place 5 stars because I got exactly what I wanted, and it was cheap because of the coupon and the ponytail guy paying for all my VRBs.
Oh my God.
I'm definitely going to do it again, hopefully with me and 2 chicks next time. I got to do something with, that was great discovering those.
It sounds like so much fun. I wish I had the talent to do that. Because
you've got to put those out somehow. Record it, stick them out, even voice notes, throw them up somewhere.
Back a week before I got blacklisted from radio here on Long Island in 1990, might have been 91, it was May. But a week before that, we were auditioning comedians, and it'd been going on for like 2 years, just trying to find comedians to be regular contributors to the show. And I turned to Boski, who was the producer at that time, and I said, where's my Rob Bartlett? He goes, what about that last guy? I said, he's no Rob Bartlett. And Boski said, nobody is Rob Bartlett. Well, somebody is Rob Bartlett. You know who's Rob Bartlett? That guy's Rob Bartlett. Hey, Rob Bartlett. Holy crap.
I'm not even Rob Bartlett anymore.
Welcome and thanks for being here. That's probably the weirdest introduction you ever got, right?
It was actually one of the better ones, I have to say. Singing tragic.
When did the music stuff start happening? Because it seemed to me what I first really learned about you was through the Imus in the Morning program, and there was a lot of great music, some of it parody, but it was great music, and it seemed to me like you must have played in some bands and stuff in high school. And no?
Oh yeah. I had I had a Beatle tribute band before tribute bands were a thing, and we used to play Sweet 16 parties and stuff like that. Nothing really big. I think the most we ever made is we split $100 between the 3 or 4 of us, and plus the meal. Of course, that had to be in the contract. You had to get the catered chicken and what everybody else was eating. A lot of comics worked with music. I started as a prop act. I had a guitar as well, and I used the guitar for like 2, 3 maybe bits, and they were really short. And then I got tired of lugging the guitar, and then eventually I got tired of lugging the suitcase with all the props, and just started doing the characters without the props. I would have little small pieces of glasses or fake noses, whatever, if I thought it was going to add to the laugh. But in the early days, especially Catch and Dixon's too, they were really slated as talent showcases. So there were singers, there were guitarists, there were duos. I mean, the first time I ever got up on stage was at an old wine and cheese cafe next to Hofstra called the Cork and Board, and I went up in between sets of folk music. There was a couple, Lee and Lynn, and I think Lee was one of the Stray Cats brothers. I don't remember which one. And I went up and did my set in between their sets, and then they did another set, and they expect me to go back up again, and I was done. I had no more material, and they hadn't turned the crowd over, and I was making myself available to the free beer and wine. And so that second set was really, I think it degenerated into me doing impressions of celebrities farting.
Welcome welcome in the aforementioned Katie Hannigan. Katie, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Good morning. Good morning to all.
You have good coffee, I can tell. And
This is an okay coffee. This is my pre-coffee coffee. So this is the one to get me out the door to get to Dunkin', which is where I'll be going next.
I think my wife is trying to poison me or something. I
Oh
got bad coffee this morning.
Well, you know what's a wife to do?
That's right. No, I appreciate it. If I were her, I'd poison me long ago. Anyway, I have to tell you, you have a striking resemblance to my stepdaughter. And when I first found out about you, when I first discovered you, it was online because I don't have television. And I thought I saw her and I saw you, but I thought it was her. And I said, oh, my God, what have we done? She's a stand-up comic. This is all my fault. How can I make it right?
Well, I'd love to meet her.
Well, maybe sometime. That would be great. Now, but then I heard your voice and I said, oh, thank God it's somebody else's stepdaughter. Oh, somebody else's daughter. That's fine. Anyway, but it's been a really good experience in getting to follow you. And now I'm like addicted to all your shorts. I got to get into. You perform at 3 clubs or all 3 clubs every night in New York City?
No. I'm out and about every night. So I do the clubs. I also do other clubs than the 3 listed as well. I perform at West Side. I perform at, there's tons of new little teeny tiny comedy clubs that are opening here all the time. I do bar shows, I'm on the road. So before the pandemic, I did perform every night. And now, I like to take a couple nights off.
Okay. Now, is there a bright side to post-pandemic comedy in New York City? Has anything improved because of it?
I'm not sure that anything's improved. I mean, the whole landscape has totally shifted because a lot of people are, doing different videos online and they're able to access a new audience in that way. So there's a lot more of, taped performance aspect, recorded performance than there has been before. So, but since I started stand up in 2010 and everything's totally different now, except for the actual act of performing stand up, I think.
Right. Because during the pandemic, a lot of people were saying in downtimes like this, it always gives way to a creative boom afterwards. And I'm waiting for the boom. I mean, we do have one comedy club, Sticks and Stones out here on the island that is opened up, which is different than closings. It's a positive sign there. But I'm seeing, and Jeffrey Gurian told me clubs in New York are completely packed every night of the week. And I was like, why am I getting emails every day for free tickets to all these places? If that's true, I mean, so it's kind of mixed messages. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out, is there a boom happening and can we look forward to some really new things and new opportunities for people?
I mean, it's all online. I think it's all online. So what's kind of happening now is that people who weren't able to perform were going online and developing an audience that way. So those people can go and, they are totally independent of the comedy clubs. So they can go perform in a coffee shop for 100 people and sell out and just go from town to town. And so it is kind of interesting the way that it's definitely a creative boom in that regard. Although I don't know that it's, necessarily for the comedy clubs.
Okay. Because there seem to be a lot of new opportunities for performances out there in very strange places like I don't know, laundromats. People are doing comedy shows, especially here on Long Island. I don't know if it's like this in Manhattan, but people are doing comedy shows anywhere they can plug in a microphone.
We will do that. We're like roaches. We will thrive in any environment.
So why am I lucky enough to get you in the morning? Because I have this idea that comedians like to sleep late, and it's always the biggest problem is I'll do it at 11:30. Well, I'm off the air at 11:30. Are you generally a morning person? Have you always been a morning person?
I am tired right now, I will say, but we have been having the exterior facade of our building renovated for about 3 months. So every day we were waking up at 8 to the sound of like someone banging on the side of the building. So that's kind of turned me into an early riser. I just at 8:00 my eyes pop open, and they're actually finished now, thank God. But I do enjoy getting up early. I love to get up. Like, I know people say people don't believe me. They say this is insane, but I love like an early morning flight, getting to the airport, even like 7 a.m. There's something exciting about it to me.
And it's probably the least stressful time to fly.
Oh yeah.
So sure. If I'm going to take a flight, and I'm not going to take a flight anywhere, it would be early in the morning. I would definitely want to do that. Now, New York City, compared to other places that you might perform at, like other cities, far more touristy, right? Or maybe nothing like Vegas, but I mean, as far as the crowds in the comedy clubs are not necessarily New Yorkers.
Yes, there is a lot. I mean, it does depend on, which clubs you go to. Like, I work a couple clubs on the Upper West Side. I was saying like Stand Up New York or West Side Comedy Club. Those are a lot of local people at those shows. But yeah, definitely downtown, it is a lot of people who are coming out to New York, and doing a comedy show is on their big list of things to do. But I love it. I was a tour guide for several years, a private tour guide. So I always try to welcome people to New York, because I know it can be kind of overwhelming and exhilarating at the same time.
Wow. So do you ever alter your set based on the sensibilities of the tourists in the room?
No, I mean, I do crowd work sometimes, so I guess I would alter it in that way. Or, of course, I will alter it if I'm bombing. I will try to go in a different direction. But no, I usually kind of stick to the plan of the material that I'm developing, which is kind of for a certain audience.
You mentioned bombing, and you don't post any of that, but there are comedians who do, and the shorts and these people are, and I love that. I mean, I had somebody call me 2 days ago talking about a comedian, and they posted a thing of them really struggling on stage, and he said, "Man, that was terrible." I said, "No, he did that on purpose. It's kind of like laughing at me, laughing at myself type of thing." But he was like, "I can't believe he put that up." That's why he put that up. You don't do that. Do you feel like there's any benefit in that at all?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think there's nothing funnier than your friend bombing on stage. I think it's hilarious. Fortunately and unfortunately, I really don't bomb too often. Sometimes I'll do a new joke that doesn't do well, but I'm usually able to get out of a hole. So I don't tape every set. And usually if I'm at a club where the set is being taped, I'm on my best behavior to do well, so I can continue working at that club.
You want to learn how to play guitar? There's only one place to do it online, to do it right online, and that's TrueFire. Check it out, TrueFire.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Our learning tools and massive library of video lessons will ignite your technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing chops. TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz, from Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists. You'll have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, fingerstyle, and acoustic guitar educators. Using our desktop and mobile apps, you'll work with TrueFire's multi-angle video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere. Integrated learning tools such as video syncs, tab and notation, slow-mo, looping, practice jam tracks, and many more handy controls accelerate your learning experience. TrueFire style-specific learning paths guide you every step of the way. Use our assessment tools to find your starting point, then follow our lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan. Progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons, student forums, TrueFire's Riff magazine, premium jam tracks, and much, much more. With thousands of 5-star ratings and reviews from amateur and pro players alike, you'll find yourself in good company with the world's most comprehensive guitar learning platform. Grab your guitar and ignite your musicality. Sign up free for an all-access trial today.
Yeah, and fight musicality. Hey, band, quiet down.
You're listening to Coffee with a Dog on Live 365 Mind Dog Radio.
You are listening to Coffee with the Dog, but wow, man, she doesn't have to come in screaming like that every time, does she? Jeffrey Gorian is, people say, and aside from the hate mail I get a lot of email talking about they've never seen anybody who is a bigger comedy fan than I am. Now, I love comedy. I love stand-up comedy. I love comedy performance. But I think my guest today might be counter those emails because I think he's a bigger, certainly more active comedy fan and a performer himself. Jeffrey Gorian is a comedy writer, performer, director, best-selling author, producer, radio personality, motivational speaker, and doctor. Yes, a doctor. I don't know what kind of doctor, whether he's an MD or a PhD, psychologist, whatever, and not always in that order. He's here now. He is performing tomorrow night at Sticks and Stones Comedy Club here in Southampton. Jeffrey, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks so much, and thanks for that great intro.
Well, you know what? I appreciate. I've watched a lot of your comedy, and we have a lot of some friends in common. But man, the depth of people that you associate with is just overwhelming. The amount of comedy stardom. It's a great place for somebody who loves the art to be in.
I've been fascinated by comedy since I'm a kid. Matt. My dad had a great sense of humor, and when I was a little kid, he would take me to movies to see the Marx Brothers and Laurel and Hardy, and any of the comedies that were popular in those days. And he imbued this sense of comedy in me. Always liked to laugh. So when I was 12 years old, I already started writing comedy.
Right.
For me and my friends.
What kind of doctor are you? Are you an MD?
I was a cosmetic dentist for 25 years and then a professor at NYU in oral medicine and orofacial pain. And I spent 20 years on the board of the Association for Spirituality and Psychotherapy.
Wow.
So I have a very eclectic background, which allows me to write these self-help books that you were talking about before.
Well, I have no problem with self-help books or any of that stuff. But I do think if people just only go down that stuff of just writing memes on their Facebook page all day long, they don't have time to actually pursue self-help. They're just shouting out to the world, I'm working on myself over and over and over again. At some point, it gets a little too much. Like you whatever that thou dost protest too much, that kind of stuff.
But you were right on the button when you said you have to take the action. You can't just sit around waiting for things to happen for you. You're supposed to take the action to try to achieve the things that you think you're supposed to have, but then you have to turn over the results. You can't try and micro manipulate the universe. You can't make things happen that you want to happen. You have to try and make them happen, and then kick back and see how the universe, what the plan is for you. Otherwise, you drive yourself crazy.
Right. And a big part of that is surrounding yourself. And, there's one thing about surrounding yourself with positive, supportive people.
Yes, you must.
But if they're going to support you walking into an oncoming train, that are not supportive people.
Exactly.
You have to be able to discern the difference between actual positive people and people who are just clingers on or just want to be perceived as full of love and support, but don't really have any basis for it. So
you have to use your intuition, and it's how I cured myself of stuttering, Matt. I was a very severe stutterer, even into my 30s. I couldn't even say my name. I could never say Gurian. And I realized one day I didn't stutter when I was alone. I only stuttered when I was trying to talk to somebody else. And that told me that there was really nothing wrong with me, that I had created it somehow to give myself this false disability. And I worked on myself very hard for several years to cure myself, to release myself from stuttering. And now, as kind of an avocation, I work with stutterers all over the world to teach them how not to stutter. Because nobody is putting out that message. I actually called the Stuttering Institute, a famous, a famous stuttering institute, to see if I could be helpful. And the head of the institute got on the phone with me, and he had the nerve to say that no one has ever been cured of stuttering. And I couldn't believe that he said that to me. I'm like, then I'd have to be a pathological liar to call you up and waste your time and make up a story that I used to stutter. And
I can't think of the singer. There was a country singer.
Mel Tillis.
Mel Tillis, right? Yeah, I knew it was Mel. I was going to say Mel. Yeah, but he could sing all day long and never stutter. It was just when he's talking. No, I do believe that stuttering is definitely lots of people occasionally now, but it's always in, when they're on the spot or anxious and all that kind of stuff. I do think it's tied to anxiety and all that kind of stuff. So
absolutely, anxiety makes it a lot worse. And you know what? Even fluent people hesitate when they speak. Some people are just not good speakers. Like you're on the radio, you're a good speaker, you're fluent. But there are fluent people that hesitate all the time when they speak, but nobody ever told them that they were stutterers, so they don't have a label on them.
Well, I would disagree because I've been on the radio for 40 years and I've never been a fluent speaker ever. I'm very awkward and I don't finish my sentences a lot. I will start a thought and then go into another thought. I'm not an eloquent communicator, but I do it anyway, in spite of.
Hey, yeah, mind dog, yeah, mind dog. If you ready for some action, this dog sure to keep you laughing. Let's go, mind dog, yeah, mind dog. Don't roll, don't play fetch, only here to keep your interest. This is the show that you've been missing, full of comedians and musicians, plenty of interviews, entertaining. Keep it funny, there ain't no debating. So authentic and straight raw, pushing the limits when they talk, doing it live when they stream. Mind Dog TV, yeah, so crazy, getting intense. The dogs are wild, better beware before you hop over the fence. Mind Dog, yeah, Mind Dog. If you ready for some action, this dog sure to keep you laughing. Let's go, Mind Dog, hey, Mind Dog. Don't roll, don't play fetch, only here to keep your interest. Let's go, come have coffee with the dog.
The incomparable Doug
Dan
Stanhope.
Stughope.
World, I like it.
I
want to move that chair.
Hello, Douglas. Hello.
Yeah, I think the lighting's better over here. Hey, welcome to the fun house.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah, I know.
Hi. Bingo. Hey.
Hello,
hey, baby.
everybody.
How's it going?
Good. Great to have you
Yeah,
here.
no,
Thank you. Oh, he's walking. He's traveling.
Yeah, no, I'm moving, so I'm better lit.
Oh, yeah. It looks like we're up on the screen behind you, too. I like that. Big screen.
Yep. There you are.
And there you are. And we're not getting like a feedback in that picture behind you. Oh, no, that's okay.
No, because we have the volume off because we're not Andy Andrist, who doesn't know how to fucking shut off the volume and not get feedback.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming and thanks for being part of this. It really means a lot. And of course, you know, it means a lot to Andy. I don't have to tell you that.
Yeah, no, we just talked to Andy on our podcast. Oh, that's awful, Joey. It was perfect without it.
Andy who?
There we go.
Andy who? What are we doing? Andy who?
God damn it. The fucking volume on this laptop sucks so much.
You want a speaker?
What?
Oh, there you go. You got a little tilt down action there. So
we've been watching a lot of this today. And
I apologize.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we apologize.
I was just saying on our podcast, when you said, "Oh, we're into hour 11," I generally stay awake for 11 hours and go, "Is it okay to go to bed yet?" 11 hours is like the most I'm awake.
I understand. We have a long way to go yet, too. We want to get to 46. We're trying to get into the Guinness Book of World Records, but they want to charge me 20 grand for that.
He's alive. Can we stop? 3 hours in, I wanted to go back to bed. But it's good.
Yeah, it's true. There was a couple of guests previous where Carl messaged me. Carl said a piss break and then maybe an hour nap. I was like, yeah. And then the dog kept bringing in better guests. It was like, oh shit, we got to stay for this one. And then the next thing you know, it's like fucking 3:30 a.m. our time, and it's like fucking, oh, we'll stay awake. We just had Brendan Walsh on, so it's like I just pissed myself twice with Brendan Walsh, and I just
Listen, just so you know, we had Andy on our podcast just before this from the recovery room. And then when we saw Brendan Walsh was on the screen behind us, we cut Andy loose to listen to Brendan Walsh.
That is fucking those fucking Yelp reviews. I mean,
they're fucking insane.
You do that as you do that as well, but that was fucking gold, man. That was an amazing piece of fucking writing.
I hope we can watch this again. Like this will be out somewhere. You don't have to watch it live because we missed most of Brendan. We backed up to Augie Smith and we caught I had 15 minutes to get the best of both of them before I came on live. But we will be able to watch this again somewhere.
Yeah, definitely will. And I will cut it up to make it easy for you so you don't have to go scroll through 46 hours of fucking.
There definitely needs to be a best of.
Yeah, definitely.
I was around during the day. I was around during the day where you were like when Christine Levine fell out, and I'm like, all right, I can't watch this because I feel like I have to jump in and save it when you don't have guests. I was in the chat talking to you saying, hey, because you were saying, oh, people are trying to reschedule. Like, I'm here the whole fucking day. I'm just sitting here.
I didn't read it that way. I should have read it that way. That would have been cool to have you on. But you know what? People are on now, and they're excited to have you here. Man. So hopefully we can drive.
Can I just say hi to Tracy in the background making the drinks? I just want to say hi, Tracy. How's it going? Hey.
Woo! Hi, thank you. Hi.
Hey, baby. How's it going?
What are you all drinking there on that?
Bingo. Looking great, baby. Oh, I love it.
There's Kaylee.
Kaylee, peace, brother. How's it going?
Yeah, why is Chad Shank came up earlier when Augie or someone was talking. Why is Chad Shank not on here?
He's you know what? I've asked him to be on the podcast for over a year, and then he was reluctant, shy. And then right before Christmas, he said he wanted to. I let him go through New Year's till he did your thing in Vegas, and then I wrote to him. I said, Chad, come on, I've given you some peace. Pick a date. And he felt like I was being a little too aggressive with him, being too pushy.
I understand that, but on this, if anyone is out there listening and you're on Twitter, go to @HDFatty and say, hey, you should jump on this, because he's a guy that's up like Raider and Bingo. Yeah. They're up at 2 a.m. when you guys are going to be fucking dying. You guys are going to be dead, and yeah, those kids can come in and you fill a void.
Well, at 2 o'clock in the morning, it'll be like 10 a.m. What will that be? 7 a.m., 8 a.m. for those guys. It won't be too bad for them.
3:30 already. 3:30 a.m.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate all the.
I'm saying as far as guests go.
Yeah. No, nobody.
I don't think.
Work on it, Doug.
Now,
work on it.
Hang
man.
on.
We got the snake lady. Christina Ledved, she's from Denmark. She's one of your big fans. Anyway, she does a snake show at 5 o'clock in the morning. She's going to come on with the snakes and lizards. That's the entertainment.
What did she say? She said she's starving her snakes specifically for this fucking podcast. So the snakes come out.
YouTube might not like animal cruelty.
On a nipple it's going to be good.
She has a clitoris that looks like a mouse.
I hope so. I hope so.
That's what we're all banking on. Listen, the whiskey's on.
we hope so.
Hey, Napo.
Yeah.
We were talking about this. You just brought up that Guinness wants 20 grand. Right. And we talked about this on my podcast just now, where fuck Guinness. First of all, would Guinness have some kind of piss testing to make sure that you weren't doing methamphetamine to do the longest podcast? Probably. They'd probably have. Do you remember the old Houston gangbangs?
Yes, I hate to say that, but yes, I do.
Yeah, we're of that age. Houston was, I believe you can fact check that. the Houston 500, where she fucked 500 guys to break a world record.
Right.
Guinness would not approve of that. We should start our own Guinness of world records that is kind of fact checked, but allows a lot of shit to slide. Yeah.
I'm on
Yeah,
board.
yeah, that definitely what I plan on doing. I said I'm not going to pay the fucking thing, but I'm just going to put up my own badge on my own fucking world podcast record, whatever it is.
Paul Provenza.
We
Hey,
do.
Paul.
Hello, Paul. Welcome, Paul Forenza, into the. Shut up. Okay.
He's on mute.
Oh, is he on mute?
He's
Well,
muted.
unmute him. You can unmute him,
Yeah.
dude.
Can I, man?
Unmute him.
Right, here we go.
There you go. I'm
There
sorry.
we go.
Can
Hey,
How-
Henry.
welcome, Paul.
Hey, how you doing, Paul?
Hey,
Good to see
Jamie, Matt, you guys have been
Lorenzo.
cooking for how long? You guys been
Pleasure.
yapping today?
We're in our 15th hour.
14 hours.
It's
Just fucking, yeah.
Oh,
Wow, wow, wow! You guys are serious troopers, and
It's
you're not even
for
going
Andy
to
Anderson's cancer.
You're not even going to go. Oh, hey, man! You're not even going to cure cancer, and you're sticking with this. That's great.
I know it's fake, you know.
Andy, I know he's been checking in with you guys, right?
yeah,
He's called
and
in, he's been tweeting.
yeah, he sounds like he's already back to his old self, and I know that's a little.
Because I think
insane.
Doug was trying to show you this. This is Andy just keeps sending me a picture of himself hitting the morphine button.
Oh, fantastic.
What a trooper.
That's great.
And yeah, he was back to himself right away. I said, I texted him when Brett came on and said that Andy was out of surgery. I texted Andy and said, hey, just heard you're out of surgery. Does your penis still work? And he almost immediately, like 20 minutes later, texted back, only when the male intern comes around. So I think he's in Andy form.
Yeah.
If I can expand this party, and I don't know if you guys know this fella, but I want to bring John in now because he was scheduled for now anyway, and we kind of screwed up on the schedule. So I'll bring John and come into the room right now.
Come in.
John
Come in,
Pavaramo,
come in.
you guys know John? John,
Oh, fuck
yeah. I said shut up.
John Pavarano.
John's
We
gonna get
probably
old,
have our driver's licenses very close to each other in the file.
Yeah. I've only seen John once. John might not know, but I remember. I don't know how I remember, but I done the Scott Curtis podcast thing a long time ago, and I was completely. It was like 1 a.m. my time, and I told this story earlier on. It was 1 a.m. my time, and do you remember that? It was like a comedy fucking thing or whatever it was, and everyone was great. But it was like
forgettable.
6 o'clock my time,
You
and I
were
come
just
on,
drunk
I was
a year
fucking
ago.
mumbling and stumbling like because I started drinking early, like early UK time, and it was fucking
Not my
ridiculous.
Jamie.
And then
Not my
he,
Jamie.
He was
never.
fucking on. He was great. Everyone was fucking great, and I was just a stumbling, bumbling mess like I am now. It was fucking horrific. It's like, so I apologize to you and your beautiful lock of hair. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, everybody can have a bad night, right?
No, it was no, it wasn't a bad night. It was a horrific night. It was really bad. It was like Tom Hanks and Philadelphia bad.
Jamie,
night. Like, it was-
Jamie, it gets worse when you explain it on another night. Just leave it be, man.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
good. Just
Here
be
we go.
yourself.
I want to bring up that we are at $23,800, which is getting closer and closer to our stated goal here. Now, I want to remind people what we're here about. And this, Paul, you're the perfect person because I was trying to explain to my wife this morning that what makes Andy, beyond just having cancer, what makes him so special. And I was trying to explain all his life and the film you're working on about his life. So I think that plays into his story and why he's such a special person and why so many people love him so much and why everybody is rallying around him with this cause. So if you could tell it better than I can.
That's a heavy weight to put on my shoulders to carry all that.
But you can carry it, brother.
Let's put it this way. Andy is very damaged. Andy's the damaged man. A little cancer on the inside is the least of what's dead inside of him. He's Andy. Just it's amazing that a guy who's he had a rough childhood. He was molested. His family life was really crazy. A lot of shit going on in Andy's whole life. But no matter how, he's always funny about it. It's amazing. And I was thinking about Bob Saget and how Bob's life was filled with so much tragedy. And as I'm sure you've seen in the outpourings of love and affection towards him since he died, everybody said the same thing, which is just that, like, he just wanted to make sure that everybody felt loved and was happy when they were around him. And that's probably because he went through so much difficult shit in his life, Yeah. And Andy's the same kind of way. Andy's like, the darkness that's in Andy, somehow there's something beautiful about it because he always makes it funny. I just don't know how it's possible that he could talk about the things that he's talking about and make it funny. There's something real joyful in him, despite all the drama that he's been through and all the craziness it's just this what he's going through right now. It's like, his life has kind of turned around a little bit, and he's in a different place creatively, and he's more disciplined than I've ever known him, and he's more focused than I've ever known him. And and then he has to deal with this. And that's what I call Schimmel luck. That's the kind of luck Robert Schimmel used to have all the time. Where as soon as things started going good, it was another even more dramatic. Like, for years he tried to get on TV, and he finally gets a series, and he's the star of the series, and they built it around him, and then he gets cancer. It's like Schimmel luck. But Andy's just a beautiful guy. I mean, really, it's just so funny because as dark as he is on stage, like, Andy will be the first one to, clean up your kitchen if you're hanging out with him and a bunch of people, and he'll just go like, oh yeah, well, somebody's got to clean it up. I may as well clean it up. It's Mr. Mom coming out.
All day long, just stories about what a warm heart and gentle soul he is, and that's a great point. But in his thing, yesterday I had him on the morning show, and he said, "I always expected to get cancer, but I didn't expect the outpouring of love and all this stuff." And that's what he was really greatly grateful for. And he actually said the word "blessed," which was it was hard for him, but he said that.
I'm sure that was hard.
Yeah.
That must have been heartfelt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just, with all those years of him being a lunatic on the road and getting into trouble all over the place for various things and all that stuff. He really is just a pussycat, just the nicest guy. He's just a sweetheart. And where I think you really get to see, as his own wife said, this is Andy's greatest work, is his daughter. Because you can't raise a beautiful young lady like that, who's so on the ball and so together and so well adjusted and so smart and so ambitious. You can't end up with a kid like that unless you're that kind of guy.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Good point. Now, John, I'm going to include you in the conversation here because Paul just mentioned Bob Saget.
Real quick, man. I'm sorry, I do have to duck out just because. I had,
okay, cool. Thank you for coming.
But
thank you very much.
I second everything, and I want to say good luck to Andy, and just I want to add that he's, in addition to being a fantastic guy, he's just the funniest fucking guy in the whole world. Everything that comes out of his mouth is hilarious.
Hey, Henry, before you leave, I just want to tell you that what's it called? You and Your Fucking Cup of Coffee?
Yeah. I've got a little web series there. Oh, thank you.
That's funny. If you guys haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's really funny.
Thanks so much, Paul. I want to do more.
Well, he's a highwayman. He helps people, man. I thought I'm going too quickly there. Anyway, Henry, I just did want to say goodbye and thank you for coming and being part of it.
Thanks for having me on. And
thank you,
everybody. Thanks, Henry. We'll let you go now.
Speak soon.
And we're going.
I hope the next time I see him's not at Andy's fucking memorial.
No, that's not going to happen. We're thinking positive here, Paul. Let's bring in Tom, John's co-host for Dystopia Tonight. Tom, how are you? Welcome. Welcome to the podcast. Do you guys know Andy Andrus? Who this? Do you know him? No, you don't even know what. Well, we were just this is a benefit for Andy Andrus, who
He died 5 minutes ago. I'm sorry
Yeah,
to say.
quite a life, but has
Wow.
found out he's got pancreatic cancer. Had it operated on today, and is already out and being part of the program. And I thank you guys for being here tonight and being part of this. John, I wanted to bring up because Paul mentioned Bob Saget in there, and Paul, my condolences to you as a good friend to Bob. The other day you posted something, and I had the exact same experience as you. And being a podcaster, we reach out to a lot of celebrities, a lot of comedians, and ask them to come on the show. And sometimes the rejection, or they just ignore you. Sometimes they'll just be really rude. But you got one that was like it's the best rejection you could ever hope for, and shared that. My experience is exactly the same. It was basically really busy at this time, but let's do it when I have time, and here's my publicist and all that kind of stuff. So if you could share that experience with the people out here.
He's muted.
What?
He's muted.
You're muted?
Yeah, I wrote that in the private chat.
There we
that I
go.
can't hear
Sorry
you.
about that. Yeah. So what I was going to say was he really is. I mean, I've been told no in a myriad of ways, when you're doing a podcast or shit like that. And some people just blow you off completely. This was the nicest, not right now, I've ever gotten. It was better. It was better than a yes.
Right.
Like, so he wrote me back and he said, "Thank you so much for asking me to do your podcast. Honestly, please accept my apologies, but I'm just overtaxed with my own podcast and a lot of the projects I'm working on, so I just don't have the free time right now. Hopefully in the future, if there's a quiet time, I would be honored. But as the future is coming, all the gigs are opening up, so I'm going to go back on the road. I'm really excited about it. I've CC'd my publicist on this, so we'll see if we can make it happen one day. All the best, sir."
Pretty
I met him
cool
once.
stuff, right? Yeah.
And he's just, I mean, that was like the nicest way to be like, I can't do it right now. It was just super sweet.
Right. And Paul, I mean, you knew him personally, and again, my condolences to you on this. But that's exactly the same kind of spirit that
That's what
Andy had.
That's what I'm saying. Is I was reading all these outpourings of affection and love, and just about how kind Bob was, and how he just was always funny, even about the darkest things. And I just kept thinking about Andy. I kept going, if more people knew Andy, there would be this much, outpouring of love for him. Even right now, even while he's still alive, there'd be that kind of outpouring of love for him. He's such a sweetheart. He is really just adorable. And it's funny because, he's the only guy I've ever seen, do rape jokes where the women in the audience just want to hug him. Because he's so lovable, and you never feel like he's the one, he's stepping on anybody else. It's just he's just so lovable.
I can't imagine what somebody in the audience listening to that comment would
right?
without knowing his material would think,
right.
how the fuck could that be possible? Maybe did I just hear? Is there something wrong with my earphones? It sounded like he said rape. Did he say rape?
Can I tell you a quick story about the first time?
Like on Last Shot, which we talked about, his special Last Shot. He does these he does a hunk on school shootings that's just hilarious, and it's like there's almost he's being sympathetic in it, but it's really dark and it's really cutting. And it's just, I don't know a lot of people who get away with the material that Andy does. But having said that, he doesn't always get away with it. But it's usually his own fault.
Well, that's true, and this is why we're here tonight, because what you're speaking to, when he doesn't get away with it, is basically he's going in the stream of consciousness, Andy being Andy stuff, instead of sticking to a script and being like planned, right? And so when he planned for his aftercare, he was thinking $10,000 was going to be enough for aftercare for pancreatic cancer. But I think everybody in this room will agree with me. You can piss through $10,000 in a fucking heartbeat. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean,
having worked with Andy,
they're great.
Having worked with Andy in the capacity of producer, I could have told you he would have been under budget.
Oh, we're getting down to, and then there were 4. And in a couple of, not too long, it will be just 1.
Oh no!
No, I was supposed to at this point be doing like bringing Hank Porter on to do some music stuff. Hank Porter's My alter ego. So Tracy, I was going to ask you though, what's crazier, working in like a regular bar or working in the Funhouse bar, as far as the personalities that you have
It's
to
a good
encounter?
question. There's a lot of working in a regular bar for 15 years. There's a lot of crazy shit that has happened. Working in the bar at Doug's place, a lot of that like happens in a very short amount of time. So it's about equal.
Is there an age limit? Are you carting them at the door?
Definitely. There's always an age limit. We had the very first time that I got very mad was there was a kid that came in and didn't admit what his age was. And I asked for IDs. It sounds very strange to ask for that in a home bar. But I'm like, you have to fucking show me your ID. And he's like, oh. I was like, yeah, you're not 21. Get the fuck out of here.
But Stanhope has often thought he should register as a sexual offender so no one under 21 years of age could come to the house.
Keep those fucking pesky kids out of here. That's a great,
That's so awesome. Really, for fucking real, Trish.
great strategy there.
Into registering.
That's thinking
He
out
was
of the
gonna
box.
do
I like
It is
that.
genius.
That's really smart.
Logan, you got quiet all of a sudden. Are you just in shock?
Oh no, I'm just
Do
enjoying.
you have trousers on, Logan?
Pardon?
Do you have
Nothing, Dave.
trousers
I love
on?
you.
I'm just enjoying the conversation.
Ever at all. This is not okay.
I don't.
And this is all comedy, Matt, and I make horror films and things, decapitations and murders and things like that. So I'm just out of my milieu. I guess you call it milieu.
I think they're
I'm a
fans
huge
of,
horror fan.
And I'm a huge
I think they're fans of the genre.
They're comedy horror films. There's a lot of people losing their heads and decapitations and
decapitations 3
I
times.
probably missed the thing about the marching robot monster. Pardon me. You know why and this is actually pretty serious. I think I figured it out why I've had 7 decapitations in my different movies, and mostly young women, but not always, because I've had some men as well. So it's not.
Now, why did I leave my
men
wife?
go topless too, frankly. So you should know that. But when I was a kid, I lived right on the farm, right on the same farm I'm right here now. I'm at 12 years old, and my dad would harvest the chickens, and a couple of different ways. And I don't know if I can say this on public broadcasting, but he would take the chickens and tie. You're from Arizona, so you've probably seen this. Tie a rope around their feet and put them up in a tree, and take a knife and cut their throat.
Sounds like halal.
And then he had a chopping block and a hatchet. He'd chop it off with a hatchet. And literally the worst thing he ever did, and I don't know if I can even say it, but he'd grab them by the neck and swing them around there. When he chopped their heads off on the chopping block, they would fly around the yard. It was the barnyard. They would fly around not really fly, but they would run around the barnyard without a head on them.
That's what they do.
In the wintertime, when they would cut their head off, in the winter, the blood would seep down on the snow, and that's actually how Pollock learned to do splatter paintings. He was actually a splatter. No, seriously, he was born. He lived on a farm too. You know, the Pollock guy that did the drip paintings. Well, the same. Well, he has a. There's 2 things he saw. This is serious stuff. There's 2 things. He saw the pattern of piss in the snow when he was out, couldn't get back into the house. And then he also saw the blood in the snow when a chicken. And that's the real genesis of all of his art, all of his creativity he saw when he was a kid on the farm, and all this stuff splattering around.
Anyway, I saw this as a kid. My sisters were they were traumatized, and they always told me that they were traumatized by all of this. And it didn't bother me. I didn't think it bothered me at all. But I'm thinking that maybe it comes out in my movies because I've got Bigfoot and he cuts the heads off of people.
No, definitely seeing a head ripped off a cock at a young age will definitely scar you for life.
And Paul talks and about people that have. And I think there may have been a little bit of this with Andy because I'm not quite sure I catch it. I don't want to misrepresent anything, but we often all have difficult times as children and see things that are just can't. Nobody get. If you're raised in a perfect environment, you're going to end up to be probably the worst person in the world. No, I think so. Anyway, I'm not sure how we got into that.
Tracy, we have a question for you from the chat room. Are you ready for it?
Okay.
For me?
Yes.
Oh.
It says, "Can you ask Tracy if Sugar Cat Loaf says, can you ask Tracy if it's safe for me to put egg whites in a whiskey sour?"
Ah!
It is, but the best way to do it is to just get the ones that you can buy at the store because they're pasteurized. So use those. You can use an actual egg white, but the best thing is to just buy like Doug does,
carton.
Just buy the carton of egg whites because they're pasteurized, so they're the safest.
I thought he was sleeping. I just heard his voice.
No,
no.
I just want to eat some taco meat that was probably going to back up on me.
I gotta get over here.
It's gonna back up on me. Thank you for the question.
I wonder. I'm assuming Andy's sleeping. I think we lost most of the crowd here. But the fundraising has seemed to have stopped, so it's kind of depressing at the moment. I feel like Jerry Lewis when it's in the middle of the night and you know nobody's watching, and you're just trying to plead for one more dollar out of people.
I want a cool house like yours.
Yeah.
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
Something that sort of surprised me about Las Vegas. I went there when I was an attorney, and we were investigating something, and we're out in Las Vegas. But the city never closes down, and it's just always open. And to be able to walk into a bar, into a lounge of a bar at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, and the band is playing. There is live music at 3. Now this was years ago, but I assume it's still the same way. And it's it could be the same way with a comedy club, especially if you're a comedy club in Las Vegas. If you're booked for a 3 a.m. show, you got to put on your show whether there's anybody there or not.
Yeah, I don't know. 3 a.m. is not conducive to comedy. Even the comedians can't handle it.
Well, the Comedy Store in LA ran till 2 a.m. I think before COVID anyway, and that was good. That got real dark and weird after one.
Yeah,
Don
those
Barrett
late
as well.
hours, and then and
Brody Stevens.
The last thing I want is the wrath of a overtired comedian pointed at me. Somebody who's a crowd worker and coming in and just and you're a hopeless drunk sitting there taking abuse. Then I would become James Inman. See, everybody's always picking on me. It's fucking Doug's fault. Fuck Doug.
But you have to remember, like in the Lenny Bruce days, they were going to a 3 a.m. show and they were fucking on top of their game. And the audience was, we left the club at 4 a.m. But that was before people, there was no rush hour at 6 a.m.
Right,
People were getting to work at 9 with no traffic. Yeah, those shit was going on at Ciro's, and it was starting at 2 a.m. and people were up at that hour.
People were better functional drunks in those days because they could handle going to work and all that kind of stuff and keep it together and still be an alcoholic. Where today I think people are just not I don't know, not capable of being functioning as much. You see a lot of people. You're either an AA drunk who bails out, quitter, or you're somebody who basically gets locked up a lot.
Well, the people had a lot less shit to do then.
Yeah.
1961. Yeah, people could stay out all night, and the workday was not overburdened with fucking. No, we need to produce. No, they just had to get through the day, and they'd have 3 martini lunches and then go back to work. It was all casual.
Yeah. My dad used to get pulled over drunk on his way home from work because on his day job he would get drunk on the job, and the cops would pull him over and just take his keys, but they'd let him sleep it off and come back later and give him his keys. That kind of.
Or he'd just suck a dick to get out of the ticket.
It always comes back to that, doesn't it? That's the only way out. There's only one way in life. You have to suck a dick. It's the only choice we have. Logan, who's on the list, naughty and nice, this year?
No, I'm half deaf. So repeat that again.
The list, naughty and nice. You were sitting there looking with the red shirt. You're looking very Santa Claus like. So I just thought I'd.
Oh no! I've worn this shirt for 2 weeks. It's just the shirt that I had on. I was thinking about putting, I saw the Brooklyn shirt. I saw some of the other shirts from different places. Thinking about putting on my average shirt because it's a nice shirt. And then when I go on the photo booth to see how things are framed up and what the background looks like, so I use photo booth for that. And I was wearing this shirt in photo booth, and honestly, I mean, you can't really see it, but it's got a hole right here. But it's. I wouldn't, it's the old joke. I wouldn't be having to wear pants, and it wouldn't matter because you're only seeing from here up. So I thought it looked decent. And everybody else was dressed casual. I've been watching this all day.
Yeah, I know. I'm not complaining about the way you dressed. I just think the Santa Claus look a little bit struck me there because.
I do have Santa. This movie, I have a Santa Claus.
Is there a decapitation in it?
Pardon?
Do women get decapitated?
No, it's going to be the doll collector. Is when the clowns rise up, they go from this size and they grow to human size, and then they come over and they're using machetes and knives and they're using hose and clubs and baseball bat wrapped in barbed. But there's no decapitation. I think he loses his leg, maybe an arm, but no.
I need to watch your entire back catalogue.
Let's say that again.
Everything. I need to watch your entire back catalogue of decapitation movies. Or
the first movie I made. It's after 1 o'clock. The first movie this might be the first movie I made. There was a clothing optional dance bar in Brunswick, Ohio, and I met a gal there. And mostly, if you talk to a dancer who wanted to get into a movie, they want their $20 tip, and that's all they're really interested in. They'll chat you up, and then they're gone. But this particular gal was a gorgeous gal, and she also went to cosmetology school, and then got training as a makeup artist for movies. So she was actually the first actress in a movie that I made, and I decapitated her. I was on my IMDb page. I'm wearing this funny little mask. She did my hair. I was bald. Did my bald head.
I would like to hear about it.
That was the first.
Mouse.
Well, I think we're about running out of gas.
What's going on over in Stanhope?
We're gonna go just watch you on TV.
I love titties and beer.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Love titties and beer.
It's been fun.
They love titties and beer, and Logan, I just love a decapitation.
Right.
Oh, they got.
Yeah, they've gone.
All right.
Anyway, thank you for coming, Logan. We're
Logan,
moving on.
honestly,
You
I
know,
loved it.
I'm going to probably be playing some music while I set up to for the next thing. So I guess we'll.
Can I say one quick thing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So checking out when it's going to appear. It's going to be at 12:15 on the 21st. It's the night of the 20th, I guess. And I'm thinking, well, that's about 24 hours. The 20th, 21st is tomorrow. I'll get through the day. I'll get to midnight, and then I'll come on the show.
All right, cool.
And then I thought, wait a minute. The 12:15 on the 21st is right now. It's not tomorrow because that's the 22nd. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wasn't making that connection. I don't know if your other guests have this kind of a problem, adjusting time and things like that. But for me, I almost didn't make it. I'm glad I did because I didn't think I was going to have it. Well, I didn't have a damn thing to say. That, let's admit it. But I did have a lot of fun.
I appreciate you being here, and we're trying again. We're here for a good cause, and everybody who's helping us just pass the time is helping in an enormous way. So I appreciate you being here. And I tell you what, you made a couple of comedians laugh pretty hard. So good job. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do.
Really,
Yeah.
that you can't know how much that thrills me for you to say that.
Well,
because I am not a comedian.
I know that, but you had Paul Provenza and John Pavaramo and Tom laughing. So, and Carl was chuckling back there too. And Carl is a very hard guy to make laugh. I mean, I've seen him like Brendan Walsh was delivering some world-class comedy at us, and he was just kind of smiling through it, but what didn't break out in a full laugh.
But I promise you, I found Brendan so fucking funny. Sometimes I don't react outwardly, but on the inside,
Yeah, I know.
everything is laughing.
I know.
Was he reading those dialogue jokes? Was that Brendan who was doing the dialogue jokes?
He was reading his Yelp reviews.
Yelp reviews, right?
Yeah, those were funny.
Oh my God! But
And
yeah,
he's-
Carl does a podcast. He does a Last Rites podcast. It used to be called the Refreshingly Non-Epstein podcast, and you can probably still find it under that. But every time I see him on that, I say, "How are these guys not laughing at this stuff?" Because it's fucking hysterically funny, and nobody's cracking a smile, and I'm sitting here watching, and I'm like, how is this possible that these guys are just having this conversation and not laughing at each other's silliness? But so
well,
he's
this was a ton of fun, and I am so glad that I was worried. I was worried shitless, thinking coming into this thing, and
we were all worried today.
It was a lot of fun. And Carl over there in the UK, and I know it's how. God, it's late. There, it must be.
No, dude, it's 7 a.m.
What?
Yeah, 7 a.m. Yeah.
7 in the morning. So anyway, I'm gonna hit.
He made it through the night. He made it through the night.
I'm gonna hit the leave button, and I'm out of here. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Logan. Pleasure.
Bye.
Well, look at the speed he left. That was great.
Yeah, he did it very quickly. Other people can't figure out, but he's been on the show before and knows the exit routine.
I think you still, even after saying I won't kick them out again, there were still like 5 more people that you just cut off halfway through. It's like
I know, I did. Because it didn't seem
hard,
like
right?
they
It's
knew
hard.
it's like they couldn't find the door. Like they say goodbye and like, where's the door? How do I get out of here? And I know that feeling. It's like you need somebody
So
to.
the current let me say this: the current winner of the B-Day, like $60, wants Doug to sign the B-Day, and I think we can probably make it happen now. He keeps calling back and he wants to be famous.
We probably, I wouldn't doubt if we hear from him again tomorrow at some
I
point.
think he's going to keep calling back because, quite frankly, I didn't realize that they were watching all day, like a bunch of losers. Anyway, it's a real pleasure. But I also know this person, and she, I slept on a couch in LA years ago, and that's it.
Wow, that's an interesting story. We want to know more about that. You know what I'm concerned about? I have magicians coming on in the morning. And Jeff Altman is coming on, and he's a sleight of hand guy, and we challenge each other basically to be able to do a magic trick in this format. Now, my brain is, I had 7 brain cells when I started this thing. I think I have 3 left. So I'm really not confident that I'm going to be able to present a magic trick to a competent magician.
What we need to do is to figure out rest periods, right? Because let me tell you this, I kept telling Jamie for the last 3 hours or 2 hours, go and get some sleep, and he kept saying no, I don't need it. Then he just disappeared and he said I need it.
Yeah.
And then he tells me he'll be back for 6:30, which is 20 minutes ago, knowing that I need to come. I was going to take a break there.
Doug Stanhope. Why is it that we've not done an Unbookable special or just an Unbookable show? How come we haven't done a Doug Stanhope and the Unbookable show, Doug?
I don't think he's going to come on to respond to that.
Yeah, you fucking pussy.
Well, on that note, folks, James, it's been,
all right.
It's been a pleasure to have you here. Please do come back.
Just keep this ongoing thing. I love your mind. I
Yeah.
love the fact that you think UFOs are drones too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course
man.
they are.
Yeah.
Of course they are. Who in the right mind, especially Earth, oh, gee, just like everything that happens on this Earth, because we live in a physical plane, the fires. Now, people call it disasters. I call it normal. There's nothing new about the fires.
Right.
Since the beginning of this planet, it was built. It started off on fire.
That's true. Absolutely. We started as
Yeah.
a nothing but fire, and then the rains came and kind of put
It
some of
cooled
it out.
everything down, and blah blah blah, and then the ice age comes. Now the ice age, the early inhabitants of Earth, they weren't too thrilled with the ice age.
I would say it's kind of a bummer.
because unless they were covered with fur, and knew how to exist in that. No, I don't think too many animals were going, oh man, I miss, well, the polar bears now, they miss it,
Right.
But it's called evolution. We will evolve. And it's just like people with these they're losing their homes and everything in the fires.
Right.
We've always had a solution. The early Americans had a solution. It was called get up and leave.
Right.
Move.
That was an old Sam Kinison bit. Go where the food is.
Remember Sam?
I love Sam, man.
This is sand. Nothing grows here. Go where the food is. He was a good friend of mine.
Oh, really? I did not know. Yeah.
He was a big fan of Cheech and Chong, of course.
Of course.
And then when he heard I was doing, I was my second time out trying to do a stand-up alone. Kennison heard that I was at the Laugh Factory. And so he comes, of course, anytime Sam came, an entourage came. And Jamie, the owner of the Laugh Factory, had one rule: no Sam Kennison. That was he would not allow Sam to be on the stage because Sam was so crude. And so I'm at the Laugh Factory doing my 5 minutes, and I did my 5 minutes, and then Sam walks in. John, man, I'm a big fan. I love you and everything. So I said, Sam, are you going to do some time? And I didn't know what else to say. And Sam says, for you, I'll do some time. And he gets on stage and he proceeds to empty Jamie's club. Where you going, you bitch? You come, you whore.
Well, was Jamie pissed at you over that?
It was so funny. Oh, man. I love Sam. We did a New Year's Eve gig together with Pauly Shore. There was Pauly Shore, Sam Kennison, and me. New Year's Eve at I think it was the Aladdin, one of the clubs. Oh, we had the best time, man.
Wow.
Gotta miss that guy.
Yeah, I think the whole world does. I really do. I mean, and I'd love to talk to you about the state of comedy next time we talk too.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah. Hey, you made it this far. You obviously like the clip. Now you don't have to subscribe, but you obviously like the clip. So I'm not telling you have to subscribe. but I would if I were you. I would also ring the bell so I get notified whenever there's new content for me to see. But that's just what I would do. What are you going to do?
One story about his daughter. She posed nude in Playboy
I
just
remember
to
that.
make her father crazy. And she came on the show a bunch of times to promote the issue. And at the end of the year, Playboy had a huge party. And I was co-hosting with Jenny McCarthy. And on the way to the city, I knew there was going to be X amount of semi-celebrities there. So I wrote a little something about Patty Davis Reagan and about Gilbert Gottfried, about Grandpa Al Lewis, and whoever else was there. There was like 5 or 6 semi-whatever. And we get to this Wilbur Hall, I think it was, or whatever it's called. And it was like every Playboy party, they invite every male in Manhattan. And they say you're invited to a VIP party. So there's like 600 guys and 3 women, and it's just a shit show. So before, we're down below, and my friend Eric is doing a thing called Hot Takes. Do you remember there was a Playboy show on cable that was the video, the music videos that were too dirty or too hot for MTV. And Jenny was the host of that. And that's why we were doing this thing upstairs together. So I'm down there and we're doing the interstitials. So at one point in between, I said, listen, I wrote a great joke on the way in here, but I'm not sure about it. And I told her the joke and she roared. She said, do that when we come back on camera. I said, you sure? And the guys, the cameraman, yeah, it's a killer. So we came back and I told the joke and we all laughed our asses off. We walked to go into what was called the VIP bar, but it was all the same. And the doors open and I'm nose to nose with Patty Davis and Jenny and the Playmate of the Year. And, you know, I said, Patty, it's so nice to see you. You know, I wrote a joke about you on the way in here. And I told her the joke. And as I'm just getting to the end of the joke, I realized that your joke was funny to every person in the world except her. Because I didn't know that they had made her. And her face went white and she went off on me and flash bulbs are flapping and it was just insane. I'd never talk so. Hey, oh, geez, I'm sorry. I didn't. It's Thursday night. It's Thursday night. Friday morning, we come on the air and nothing happens. I'm like, thank God I skated, you know, because that could have been crap. Meanwhile, the show, it was 10 o'clock on a Thursday night. Of course, it wasn't in the paper on Friday. I live on Long Island. I'm a drunk. I'm not paying attention to the New York Post. I come into work on Monday morning, and the mics go on, and Robin goes, he did it again, Howard. And Howard says, what? He insulted the president's daughter. And then they start saying, it's in the Post that Jackie upset Patty Davis Reagan and blah, blah, blah. And they start berating me. And after 5 or 10 minutes, Gary comes in. He says, Howard, the listeners are all calling in, Howard. They all want to hear the joke that he told her. And he said, all right, Jackie, tell your joke. So I told the joke. And I'm telling you, Howard was biting his lip. And the joke was, hey, Patty, I heard you were the first person to know that your father had Alzheimer's disease because he started returning your phone calls. And it was just so hysterical. And they're biting their lips and they're trying to insult me and tell me how rude and inappropriate I am. And meanwhile, everybody's dying. It's the funniest joke they ever heard. And that went on for a whole day. And the next day, she called up the show and started in on me. And to me, it was still funny. And I just laughed through the whole time. And I got her, Howard, Robin, they're all attacking me. I'm like, you're all so crap.
Now, I know I only knew about you. GD actually had let me know about you. This guy's bashing us. And then I went and watched an episode a couple of months ago, and it didn't seem like you were bashing us at all. It sounded like you were saying some negative things about him, but about us in general, you weren't. But I would be fine if you were. But is there some? He's been featured more than once on your program. Is there something about him that you just don't? You want to get?
No, you say bashing. I have no animosity towards GD. I find his comedy captivating. I found him through Tom Myers, and I just think it's funny to make fun of. Like we're in the midst of his comedy special, and there's a lot of lines that I find baffling. And it is, I will say this, like I'm a fan on some level because I find it so interesting. Like there are lines that we spend 15 minutes trying to figure out what he means exactly. So I just find him to be an interesting comic.
Well, I think we go through that every day here. With trying
Sure,
to
I
figure
imagine.
out
Yeah.
what he means here. But yeah, all right. So that's a whole different perspective. But do you find that? Do you feel like it's necessary to or you want a mission to save people time? With this, your motivation. Are you trying to save people from having to watch this special? I'll be honest with you. You've watched far more of the special than I ever did, and the only parts of the special I've seen is watching you talk about it, because I didn't watch it at all. But is your mission to kind of save people from having to go through that themselves, or
no? I mean, I like to think in a way I'm promoting GD. Like if people disagree with me, they can go watch the special or any of his other stuff on their own and decide for themselves. I'm a fan of comedy. I talk about comedy I like. I talk about comedy I don't like. I talk about comedy I find weird or interesting. And GD falls into one of those categories.
Okay. Or are you a comedian yourself, or are you just a fan of comedy?
I'm not. I'm just a fan of comedy. Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you also do a podcast? I'm not sure about this. I think. What are you laughing at with Carl Hamburger from? Who are these podcasts?
Close enough. So I do. I do. Why Are You Laughing? Which is a history of comedy podcast that I do. And the show I do with Carl is called "Who Are These Socials?" It's very confusing. They're all full sentences, so I get the confusion. But yeah, the show I do with Carl is "Who Are These Socials?" It's similar to his other podcast that I think you guys are featured on. Who Are These Podcasts? But we focus on social media on that show.
We were featured on that once, and he did. I think the word bashing definitely applies. But his criticism of me, what I thought was dead on accurate. He was talking about a guy who just wants to be a morning radio guy, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. I mean, my chances of ever getting like on a real radio station again, I was in the early '90s. I got banned locally here for using the F-bomb and without a 7-second delay. But so yeah, I think his criticism of me was dead on, and
I remember I watched the episode where they played you saying that, you reacting to that show, and I remember really appreciating that about you, because I think there's a lot of people like that do a show, to make themselves and their friends laugh, or their co-host, whatever, and but you you could mock my show pretty easily, I'm sure, but I like what I'm doing, so
yeah.
Go ahead and make fun of it. I appreciated that you did that, because there's so many people that react poorly. Like if you look at the guys that Who Are These Podcasts cover, or that I cover, or whatever, it's a lot of guys that get that first beating, that first being mocked, and don't react to it well. Like Stuttering John's a guy they talk about all the time, where they made fun of him once, and my theory on this is always like, if he either just didn't acknowledge it or kind of embraced it, none of the last 6 years of Stuttering John's career would have happened the way it did. But he got indignant about it. He got angry about it. He threatened them, and that just allowed them to pile on and keep going. So I remember what I do specifically. The reason I was, willing to do this show is because I was like, oh, this is a good guy. He seems like he has a good time.
All right. Well, thank you for that. But, I thought his criticism of Jackie Martling was way, way unfounded, because he said this is how far Jackie's career has gone, that he feels like he has to do the show. Jack, because he's a friend of mine, and he actually thinks he's doing me a favor, and he might actually be doing me a favor by being on the show, getting me a few more views, because people are more interested in him than they would be in me. But so it's not that Jackie's career has fallen this low. It's that Jackie and I are friends.
Well, I think he was also making a joke. He's fucking around.
I got it that he was like really hung up on all these guys who used to be on Howard Stern or Opie and Anthony, and just felt like he was stalking them, like following those people around and seeing what they do. Because how else would he have found this program?
So people submit shows, and I think probably because of me talking about GD, who you said he's here? I haven't heard him.
Yeah, okay. He's there.
I'm here. I was laughing.
I don't know. We'll figure it out later. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. And don't forget to turn on your radio. Live 365, Mind Dog Radio, iHeartRadio. We're all over it. Have a good day. That's a bad message to send, Carl. But you're probably right.
Listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen.